Support WrestleTalk!
Donate on Patreon.
Hell in a Cell is upon us, or should that be around us, because that's how cages work. But with Evolution, Super Showdown, SmackDown 1000, and even a potential return to the beautiful city of Jeddah on the horizon, take that, Women's Revolution, you would be forgiven for forgetting that it's the one with a big cage this weekend. Seems like WWE have. As the final pieces for the show fell into place on this week's Raw and SmackDown, there are still some big question marks hanging over the show, and a bunch of rumours floating around out there in the ether. But fortunately, I've gathered up 10 of them, no more, but more importantly, no less. And I'm going to give them to you right now. I'm El Fakador Laurie Blake, and these are 10 rumours for WWE Hell in a Cell. During his illustrious career, Jeff Hardy has done it all. Swanton off a ladder, swanton through a table, swanton off a cage, swanton in the crowd, swanton on an apron. Not a single one of them a good idea. But one thing he hasn't done is swanton off a cell. And from the looks of it, it's something he really wants to do. In fact, the rumour is that the entire reason Randy Orton's been coming out and giving Jeff the world's driest wet willies is to set up this match and check it off Jeff's bucket list before he retires from in-ring competition. Which seems quite likely, as his brother Matt is expected to transition to a backstage role in the company once his current contract expires next year, and he has been teasing retirement on Twitter with cryptic messages. He's also been saying stuff about dead people and goldfish, so take it all with a pinch of salt. Adding a bit of legitimacy to this rumour about Jeff, though, is the fact that on an episode of Table for Three last December, Jeff told Finn Balor that what I want to do before I'm done here is a Hell in the Cell for sure, whether it's tag team or solo. And now 25 years into his career, he's finally got his wish. All he had to do was get his ear finger banged by Randy Orton, who I hope washed his hands. Allegedly. Sticking with Hardy, and there are also whispers in the wind that he might be changing up his character come Sunday. During a media call with Hardy Wrestling Inc. asked if there were ever any past or present plans to have Jeff Hardy as Brother Nero after Matt Hardy went and got himself woke. Jeff said, yeah, I think so. I mean, I kind of feel like me wearing the face paint now and breaking out the white contacts. It's like a modified version of Brother Nero, and that might take a completely drastic turn this Sunday at Hell in a Cell. I might really go all out as Brother Nero, and who knows, you might even see Willow. He may pop up here. From the Broken Universe, anything is possible. Sloken Universe, Jeff. Stay on brand. Now, this could just be Jeff stirring up some interest in the match, but he has slowly been incorporating more quirks into his character as time goes on. Let's just hope he keeps things sensible in the cell. Wouldn't want him to do anything silly while working banged up. Swanton on the apron, Jeff, what are you thinking? Never mind having a fifth eye, he's got a second set of testicles having a Hell in a Cell match in his state. Don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Bella Twins are back, baby! And it's almost like they never went away. They're just as good as they've always been. You've seen her, Brie's been out there putting the suicide in Suicide Dive. With Brie teaming with hubby Daniel Bryan to take on the Miz and Maurice at Hell in a Cell, that leaves Nikki twinless and in need of something to do, because you can bet your right arm she isn't sitting this one out. She's not gone home yet, and she won't ever. One rumour floating around is that Hell in a Cell is where Nikki will challenge Ronda Rousey to a title match at Evolution. Dave Meltzer recently reported that WWE are planning the main event for that show to be Nikki versus Ronda, as the two are the biggest mainstream female stars the company has. And it makes sense, you've got to imagine that the Alexa Bliss feud is all neatly wrapped up after this match at Hell in a Cell, so Ronda can do the fighting champion thing going forward. The only issue I see with this rumour at the minute is that the Bella Twins have been in Rousey's corner for a while now, even when they shouldn't have been. They've been in backstage photos, mentioned on Instagram, and even inserted themselves into her celebration after SummerSlam. Total bellends. They even told Ronda in a god-awful backstage segment last week on Raw that she is going to be the greatest women's champion like ever, and if she ever wants to sell like underwear or whatever, they're there for her. So I think to make this more than just some friends having a spat, this needs a little bit more setup. And also, things with Ronda Rousey could take a completely different path for a while if this lady does return at Hell in a Cell. Nia Jax. Cageside Seats said that Nia has been spotted at the Performance Center in Orlando getting physical therapy after suffering a knee injury in July, which some have taken as a sign that she could be making a return at Hell in a Cell. She's not listed as having a match or anything, but she could be good in an ambush role here, and she certainly got beef with both Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss, considering the way she lost her title at Money in the Bank. However, the rumor does state that she was receiving physical therapy, which could mean that WWE are taking it slow with getting her back in the ring. Someone who is fighting fit and ready for in-ring action though is Rey Mysterio. We've already seen him looking super svelte at the Royal Rumble and also looking super snicked at All In while dressed as Wolverine. He's also reportedly signed a 2-year contract with WWE that Dave Meltzer has said is set to start in September. Hey! It's September now! One of the rumours floating around is that Rey could have a potential feud with Orton going forward, but as Orton is facing off with Jeff in a cell, it seems unlikely that Rey would be involved or interfere. Also, you've got to imagine with all those high spots flying around, Rey's impact would be lessened here, so they might want to keep him back. So it's more likely that he's going to return at something like Super Showdown to increase the buzz about that show, or on SmackDown after Jeff has been scraped off the floor. Rey himself has also said that he'll continue to take dates outside the WWE until his exact return is set in stone. He recently told JR on the Jim Ross Report, "We're still in the mix of it. We've been going back and forth, talking about possibly returning this month, then this month, so the longer it extends, the more I get to work outside. That's my bread and butter. That's what I do for a living. I'm just waiting for them to say now. When they say now, if it's the right time, let's go." So this is a rumour that I spoke about on the news last month, and that is a heel turn being planned backstage for Asuka to rejuvenate her character, as all the associating with James Ellsworth has really driven her into the ground. And one idea floating out there at the moment is that this could happen at Hell in a Cell, possibly with her jumping the winner of Charlotte and Becky. However, the Wrestling Observer's Brian Alvarez reckons this is way less likely now that Becky has had her big heel turn at SummerSlam, or should that be heel turn in WWE's eyes at SummerSlam? And now with Becky and Charlotte being positioned as the top 2 women on SmackDown, it seems that nobody has room for Asuka. On to Strowman versus Roman, and currently rumour has it that Braun is going to lose because WWE see Roman having a lengthy title reign, although that could just be confusion with Reigns' second name. However, this does seem likely as Strowman's heel turn while he was the hottest babyface on Raw could be an attempt to make fans less annoyed when he loses his Money in the Bank cash into Roman, who now legally owns this yard. He's over it at least. So yeah, sources within WWE see Roman having a long Universal title reign, and it's also been reported by Sports Illustrated that they're going to move away from Reigns and Strowman following the pay-per-view. In fact, Sports Illustrated suggested that Reigns' next challenger is going to be Drew McIntyre, which I can see going really well for Drew. The Reigns vortex strikes again. Also being sucked into the Roman vortex is Mick Foley, who is going to special guest referee Strowman versus Roman. He is going through or falling off something, surely. Well, technically, Foley has not been medically cleared to take any bumps since 2011, and the Wrestling Observer are saying that he is forbidden from taking any bumps during this match. On the flip side, Sports Illustrated are reporting that rumblings from contacts at WWE say that the plan is for Foley to take at least one significant bump from Strowman. What better way to celebrate 20 years since he fell from the top of the cell than by doing it all over again? Whichever of these rumours is true, Foley's run as Raw GM coincided with the rise of Strowman, so there's a little bit of story here. And either way, Foley's one-man show debuts on the WWE Network following Hell in a Cell, so it's all just a fun bit of promotion, really. Tell that to Foley's jaw and shoulder and ribs and... If you've been keeping up with your kayfabe, so far Becky Lynch versus Charlotte might just be the match of the night, or at least a close second to AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. Dodgy attempts at heel turns aside, you goddamn fans, you! This has been a solid feud and a great build to this match, but what would make it better? It's already for the title, how about sticking it in a cell? Well, Becky and Charlotte have been discussing it on Twitter and both seem fine with the idea. Charlotte said to Becky, "So you want to settle this in a cell? I'm going to make one thing very clear. In a regular match, I let go of your leg after you tap. In a cell, I let go when I want to. Either way, this ends the same, with you wondering what could have been as you limp away." She's the face. Imagine the pop if the cell were to descend just as this match began. If that did happen, it would mean that there are now 3 cell matches on the card, which we have seen before on pay-per-view, but WWE tend to stick to just 2 nowadays. I do think that this would be a super cool twist to this match though, so here's hoping this happens after they've scraped Jeff and Mick off the mesh, of course. It appears WWE are going to try and make it right on that ill-advised heel turn. You f***ing fans, you! It's all your fault. The speculation, including from Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Radio, that we could see a double turn during the SmackDown Women's title match. So Charlotte will turn and become a heel, and Becky will turn, and she'll still be a tweener. Obviously, if WWE are listening to fan reaction, it'd be Charlotte as a heel and Becky as a face, and this would validate that everything that Becky has been saying on SmackDown for the last few weeks. But since when did WWE listen to fan reactions? So those are some Hell in a Cell rumours. But what are our predictions for the show? Get clicking on your screen now to find out, and give us a subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest wrestling news. I've been El Fakador, and that was Lucha.